Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest is Brad Walley. He will be competing in the main event of Diamondback Fighting Championship 18 at Adelaide Oval for, of course, Diamondback Fighting Championship, taking on Jake Hearl, who's an MMA vet. Him and Brad Walley, look, let's just say they do not get along that well, to the point where some stuff may or may not have happened outside the cage, but nonetheless, they will be getting inside the cage 29th of September at Adelaide Oval. And look, we chat to Brad Walley. It's a very, very interesting chat. I really like him. I haven't touched a whole lot of base on the Adelaide fighters, but of course, you've got great fighters in Antonio Caruso. You've got Shane Mitchell in the PFL. Look, there's great pros. But it's been well known that the professional scene in Adelaide is a little slim lately, and it wasn't so much in the past. Nice amateurs, but yeah, like we said, little thin in the professional ranks. But we finally get a hell of a professional flyweight fight between Brad Walley. Sorry, I've been punched in the head. Brad Walley taking on Jake Hearl. And it's going to be a great fight. Brad Walley started out really great in his MMA career, very, very active. He then went through some devastating knee injuries. So on this podcast, we chat that, obviously the support of his family, his close friendship with PFL fighter Shane Mitchell. We chat the dislike for Jake Hearl, of course the Adelaide MMA scene, and of course how this fight is going to go on the 29th of September. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Brad Walley. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I'm very excited about this one. The man taking on Jake Hearl at Diamondback Fighting Championship 18, Adelaide Oval, 29th of September. Mate, welcome.
How we doing, mate? Good to see you.
The great Brad Walley has been, his name's been thrown around. People have told me I have to get you on the show to have a little chat. Not just because of your great fighting style, but there might be a little bit of beef heading into this bout, and people know that I, instead of a MMA podcast, I'm a bit more of a butcher. I do enjoy the beef. Is there an issue between you and Jake Hearl going in?
Yeah, look, we're both local boys. I think we both live very close to each other as well. We don't like each other. There's been a bit of shit back and forth. It's been brewing up for a few years, but look, it's going to be good. I'm glad that we're finally getting in there now, and we'll settle it.
Where did it all start?
It sort of started many years ago when I was sort of coming up, because he debuted long before I did, and then sort of he wasn't super active, and then I came into the scene, was very active, and I was quite vocal and quite loud, and I don't think he liked that. And I think he just didn't like me from the get-go. Sort of, we had our bits back and forth here and there, and it's been a bunch of other drama that's gone on through the years as well with teammates and this and that. And look, it's just brought over to the point where now we're going to settle it.
Now, I little accustomed to South Australia. I spent 3 years in Mount Gambier doing radio, and then so did little trips to Adelaide here and there. It is a very small town whilst being a big city. I have heard that there has been a few little fisticuffs outside, little scuffles in the old wool shed. No, that's the only place I know. But like that stuff has happened, perhaps, out in the street. Can you deny or confirm?
Look, I won't comment on any of that stuff, but look, there's been a few incidences, not with me personally, but with even family, friends.
Wow.
Look, it's gonna be fun.
Where does that start? Obviously, like you're a mixed martial artist. You like it to obviously stay in the cage, but how does it get sort of so personal, or is it not? Are you guys just so sort of always game and ready to fight?
It's not like I hate this man or anything like that. It's I think he's a bit of a dickhead. I think he acts like a dickhead sometimes, and I think our personalities clash. I think, to be honest, we're probably very much like each other. So I think we clash a lot like that. And it's, I don't know. It's not like I hate this man with all my heart or anything, and I'm going to go hunt him down, but I'm more than happy to share the cage with him.
Does it just sort of start with like a few little like words at fight shows and stuff, and obviously guys like myself, just
Mm.
blowing it out of proportion type thing? Like I can imagine that there is still some respect there for his ability inside the cage.
Of course, and that's been one of the biggest things as well. Is like a lot of people say to me, they're like, "Why don't you just go smash this dickhead? Like you just go run through him." And it's like, look, as much as I think he is a fucking dickhead, but I still respect his skills. He's a very composed, very long, rangy. He's got, I think he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He's had 6 fights. He's no slouch. Like he's going to be a good test, but yeah, look, I think I'm going to run through him.
Is it hard being an Adelaide pro MMA fighter right now?
Yeah, look, there's not a whole lot going on, but yeah, is what it is.
What do you think is it? Because obviously Diamondback doing an amazing job, Craig Ike and Cardio Flex and whatnot are really doing their piece. Of course, you've got Antonio Caruso, you got Shane Mitchell, you got some guys out there, but it does seem to be on a bit of a lull lately. Do you know why that might be, and do you know what Adelaide can do to make it better?
It is weird because like a lot of our pros are just you don't have a lot of professional fighters out of SA at the moment. Back in the day we had heaps, but we got quite a solid amateur scene at the moment. And look, I think like the amateur scene is getting a little bit. I think it's getting a little bit blown up too much lately. How you're seeing champs as amateurs and this and that, and it's like, look, if you think you're all that, go professional. It's time to go professional. Start actually making a career. But I think people are sticking in the Amis too long, trying to make a big name in there. And it's like, I mean, once you go pro, none of that matters.
Yeah, I mean, you had a nice little amateur career, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I think I had 6 amateur fights, and I got to the point I fought the number 1 ranked amateur. I beat him, and I was like, all right, time to go pro. Like,
yeah, I mean, do you think all these guys are, I mean, I'll take it to like, let's go to Melbourne, Demolition. You got like a Harry Webb who was like a triple champ, quadruple champ. He's now like an amazing like pro fighter. Do you like that sort of amateur lead up into the professionals?
Yeah, look, I've seen Harry fought one of our boys. I've seen him fight live. Fantastic fighter. Yeah, it's one of those, like, I think there's lots of value in the amateur scene, but I think after a while, it's time to go. It's time to go into the pros and make a career.
Is that when you knew, like, I'll ask you that. At what point did you know you were ready?
Look, I looked at the amateurs as more of like a get comfortable in the cage, get my skills up to a certain level, and then once I remember I fought Chantu Sin. He was, I think, 5-0, 6-0 or something like that, and he was number 1 ranked guy in the amateurs. I fought him, beat him, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm good enough to hang with the best amateurs. Let's start going in the pros. And that's the route I took, where you're seeing a lot of guys would be like, all right, I beat the number 1 ranked amateur, and then they have 6 more amateur fights. And it's like, yeah. What
would your advice be to maybe a fighter just starting out who maybe is an amateur that's doing quite well? Like what advice would you give them heading into pro, or when to go pro?
It's hard because I'm sure like where it took me 6 fights, it might take another guy 8, it might take another guy 4. I don't know, it really depends on the fighter himself. But I think once you get that comfortability in there, you've tested your skills against, because I remember I had maybe 3 fights against local boys. Then I fought an interstater, fought another interstater, fought the number 1 ranked guy, and I sort of built myself up sort of through that to the point where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, like I'm good enough. My skills are good enough to be able to compete with Australia's best in the amateurs. All right, I can compete with the debuters in the pros and so forth.
Now, how does it feel as a flyweight, not just in Australia, but in the sport in general? Do you think flyweights are given a bad name?
Look, I think they're having a bit of a resurgence at the moment. Sort of, you look in the UFC and stuff now, they've got a fantastic flyweight division. It's hard, like, because I mean, I used to watch the flyweights as well and be like, boring. But like,
you are one.
Exactly. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it just was what it was. Like, I feel like the UFC sort of had a bit of their flyweight division wasn't that exciting, but now you're seeing some of the boys now far out. They're fantastic.
Is there anyone on the Australian scene that you really want to sort of get your hands on? Of course, Stewie Nickel doing great. Jankowski Drillich will be fighting for the eternal flyweight belt. Is there anyone out there that you're like, man, I need to get in the cage with them?
One that was going to happen was he's a bantamweight now as well as Sean Gauchi.
Yep.
Me and Sean, we were supposed to be fighting for the Diamondback title many years ago before I had a bunch of knee injuries that took me out for a couple of years. But right before that, me and him were supposed to fight. And here's one I've always wanted to share the cage with him. Got nothing, like, he's a fantastic guy, but I think me and him having a scrap would be a great fight.
Do you have to dislike? I mean, like you said, you don't really get along with Jake Hearl. Do you find it easier to dislike your opponent going in?
I've never really fought anyone I don't like, which is kind of interesting. Like most guys I've fought, I don't know. I've never associated with them more than like, you're fighting this guy, and it's like, all right, let's do it. Where like, yeah, this is the first guy that like I've known for many years. Then I'm like, all right, let's fucking go. But yeah.
And I mean, you spoke about the knee injury. Of course, you haven't fought in, I think, technically a year, and then before that was close to 3. So you started quite active. It's then slowed down quite a bit. What actually happened with the knee, and how's it now?
Yeah, so obviously I was on an absolute tear there for a while. I think I was on a 6 or 7 fight win streak, just cruising. And then I was after my 3rd pro fight, I was just at training and being an idiot, jumping around in the gym, and sort of I did the Showtime kickoff of the cage, and as I landed, my knee just went. I tore my whole knee apart, ACL, meniscus, like you name it. Sort of
really
had the ACL reconstruction with that one, and then 8 weeks out of the ACL reconstruction, I was walking down some stairs and my patella ripped in half. My kneecap just snapped in 2. So yeah, after that happened, then I was back into surgery, had to have my knee wired all together so the bones would heal. And then I was in, like a full brace, couldn't walk or anything really for a few months. Eventually got the wires taken out, built my leg up a bit, got back to training, stepped forward as I was throwing a jab, and my knee just went pop and the fracture reopened. Back in for surgery, did the whole thing again. I think I had 5 surgeries in the end on my knee, and it was horrific. I was in like a Zimmer splint, like I couldn't bend my leg for like something like 8 months or something. My leg got so small I could put my hand around my quad like this, and it was hard. It was that was really difficult. That's why I was out for so long. I literally had to build my leg back from literally no muscle and sort of get back to this point again.
Well, surely you thought about walking away from the sport.
To be honest, when I had the 2nd fracture of my patella, I thought I didn't even know if I'd be able to run again, let alone compete again. It got to a point where I was like, I don't know if my knee is ever going to actually be okay ever again. And thank God, with a lot of hard work and everything, I've been able to build back to this point. But far out, man. It wasn't a fun time, that's for sure. You go from being like a super fit athlete to you can't even walk on your own, and you're like, oh my God.
How long did it take for you to get back to where you 100%?
Maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years, to like it was, even once my knee was structurally okay, just like being able to bend my knee to a certain extent, or being able to do certain things, or just like getting over mental battles with it as well. Because I was like just actually like going full ball
and stuff.
It was a lot, but I mean, I'm completely over it now. Like my knee is fantastic now. Like it aches if I leave it bent for too long, but other than that, like it's structurally, it's fantastic.
So any Superman kicks coming?
Nah, probably won't see any of them anytime soon, but yeah.
Did you follow the story of Timmy Schultz with the staph infection of his leg?
I did loosely. That was horrific looking. It's awesome to see. I every now and again have a look at it, and it's great to see he's in the gym rehabbing it and stuff. Because
like deadlifting.
That was terrifying, man. Looking at that, I remember when it first started going, and like I remember like showing my girlfriend as like it was sort of progressing, being like, "Look at this," and it was horrific.
Yeah, I remember being, I was in Melbourne with like Jack Jenkins and all the absolute MMA guys, and we're literally doing a podcast, and we're like going back, and it was like the updates were sort of happening, and we were like, Jesus. And like, I know that everyone's a fighter and everything, and everyone goes at each other and whatnot, but I feel like there was like a little sense of like community that got behind him. And it's very similar to anyone that gets injured, like, did you feel that you kind of had that support from everyone? And
It was. I was very lucky. Like my family supported me super well. Like I couldn't work for over a year, so it was like my
really?
family support. Yeah, like I couldn't even like I could barely walk on my own, man. Like I was on crutches for like 8 months or something like that. Like it was really bad. So like without my family, I would have been absolutely screwed. And then like obviously just having my friends and stuff that were all there to like sort of help me through it. Still every night I'd go to the gym. Like me and like Shane Mitchell, we lived together, so I'd always yeah, when it was training time, hop in the car with him, get my leg in there with my crutches, and I still go down the gym every night and sort of be around everyone, and it was fantastic. And like credit as well to like how I was saying how me and Sean Gauchi were supposed to fight each other. He sent me a really nice message when he heard the news as well, and yeah, so the community is good like that, man.
Yeah, Sean Cassidy's a lovely guy. One of the most, he gets hated on, very similar to what like Steven Ursig got when
Yeah,
he was at the top before he like went on that
yeah.
dominant run. It is a little bit weird, but yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like everyone does have that sort of support. So let's say like Jake Hearl hurts his knee, you sending him a message? You go,
I would. I don't wish that upon anyone. Like
yeah.
yeah, look, yeah, I don't wish that upon anyone. It's a horrific thing. So yeah, I don't wish any ill will towards him, but yeah.
And with speaking of Shane Mitchell, of course, Adelaide on his back recently in the PFL, devastating knockout on the other end of a highlight reel knockout. What does that do for you as a friend, training partner, to see your boy, unfortunately, on the wrong end of it?
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I mean, Shane's been on the right side of so many highlight reels, man. Like he's been that guy to so many people, and it was hard, man. Like yeah, me and him are super close, good mates, and I mean I was there for both of the fights, and yeah, it was. I tell you what, that thing was loud as fuck, and he did not get knocked out at all, man. I walked into the cage and he knew exactly what happened. I was like, Jesus Christ, you have to shoot this guy to put him out. Like it was insane, but look, this is what it's all about, man. He went to the top and challenged himself for the world champion, and it's honorable, man. He put on a great performance against him, and yeah, hopefully he'll get back in there soon. And he'll be on the right side of another highlight reel like he has so many times.
I was gonna say, do you have a bit of an update for him or whatnot, or what's to come with Shane Mitchell?
Yeah, not sure what's next for him. He'll still be in the PFL, still. So yeah, looking at doing something next. I know he's going to go to a trip over to Miami and do a bit of training over there, and so yeah, he's got lots of exciting things coming up, man.
Well, before I let you go, your prediction for the Diamondback Fighting Championship main event.
Yeah, I reckon. Look, I think the first round, I think it's going to be a little bit crazy. I expect him to not want to wilt at all, but I think his gas tank is going to deplete pretty fast, and in that second round, it's going to go horribly for him. I reckon TKO in the second round.
I love it. Mate, before I let you go, after it's all said and done, how does Brad Walley want to be remembered in mixed martial arts?
Yeah, look, I'm back now. I want to sort of get back active now, and hopefully if this all goes to plan, if we can get another one in by the end of the year, get a nice run going, and then yeah, I'll be looking at a big promotion soon as well. So sort of if I can get a few more wins in there and then start looking for a big promotion, that's the goals, man.
Awesome, mate. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for staying up late for me. Wish you the best of luck, and good luck on the weekend.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you.